Good evening. Okay, so for those of you who have ever worn a cap at work, or I don't know, worn a baseball cap or anything at all day long, you don't just take that off, especially as a woman. I wore this all day, and there's at work, obviously, there's no taking it off, not until I get in a shower. So, sorry guys. But I wanted to talk to you guys really quickly about emotional fuel, like having like fuel for your emotions, fuel for yourself. A lot of us run on empty. Like a lot of us run on empty. I know, I've been there, I've done that. It's miserable. And it was this summer, I forget where I was. I think I was in Dallas, but I was at an event and I had a speaker talk about, and it made so much sense, talking about, especially, I mean, it's all people probably, but women are the worst, absolute worst at this. They said, if you stand tall, I'm not doing that. If you stand tall, like a vase, and you have goodness poured into you, like all kinds of goodness, I don't know, love, rest, meditation, exercise, sleep, all the good things, growth, everything poured into you. But when everything's poured into us, what do we do as women? We tip that vase to make sure everybody gets some. We're going to tip it for our kids, we're going to tip it for our husband, tip it for our family, tip it for our friends, and we keep tipping the vase. What happens if you're filling a vase and you keep tipping it over? It falls and crashes. Yeah. So what would happen, ladies, follow me here, if you stood as that vase, totally still, and let all that goodness fill you up and keep coming? What would happen? Yeah. If you let it fill you up, fill your cup, it would flow over into all the areas of your life, to your friends, your husband, your family, your kids, everyone. It would flow out to everyone naturally, and you would have enough in you to give. You wouldn't be empty, you wouldn't be broken. So I'm not saying anyone's broken, but you wouldn't be emotionally depleted. So it's kind of like the adage kind of like when the instructions on an airplane, when they tell you, which I always used to think was so jacked up, to put the mask on yourself before your kids, which seems so counterintuitive. That's just not a thing that moms would think of to do, because we're like, no. But if you're passed out, you can't help your kids. So it makes sense you would put it on yourself first. Make sure that you're conscious enough to then get oxygen masks on your child or children. And I was laughing about it with somebody today, talking about how, heaven forbid we let our car battery die, but heaven forbid we let our phone battery die. Ain't nobody walking around without a charger. Like, people freak out if their phone battery dies, right? We won't let our phone battery get, down to 10% because we start getting that. Sorry, y'all. Getting the, I'm gonna make him be quiet. Once it gets to like 20%, you get that message. You're like, oh no, I'm gonna go to like battery saving mode and turn off my, what is it you do? Turn off your locations. Go to the privacy and turn off location. That'll save your battery, and turn your light way down, the brightness down. That will save your battery. So when I get to 20%, those are the first two things I do. Because I go into panic mode. I'm like, oh God, I'm down to 20%. And then when I get the 10%, I really freak out. I'm like, oh my gosh, where's the charger? And usually I have a charging cord, but no square. Does anyone else? But we don't let that happen to our phones. But for some reason, we let it happen to ourselves. And we're way more important than a goddamn cell phone. Heck, obviously, most of my life, I didn't have one. They weren't even here. So, and the kids don't get that. But you didn't used to have to charge a phone. Like, the thought of charging a phone was like foreign. You just plugged it into the wall and you were done. If you unplugged it, it was dead. So, but anyway, don't let yourselves become so depleted make sure that you get just as conscious. If your your battery gets down to 20%, you need to be having all kinds of alarm bells going off saying, hey, stop it. I've given out too much. I'm not getting enough back in. I'm not going to be able to give. My battery's going to die. So just make sure that you're checking in with yourself and that you're filling your cup, because then you're much more apt to be able to share it with everyone when you're whole. So that is my 2 cents tonight on emotional fuel. And now I'm gonna go take this off because I'm scared to actually look at it and get to take a shower. Y'all have a good night.